بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. حمدا لله وصلاة وسلاما على سيدنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. اللهم ارزقنا الإخلاص في القول، اللهم ارزقنا الإخلاص في العمل، اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من فتنة القول، اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من فتنة العمل، اللهم ارزقنا طيب القول، اللهم ارزقنا طيب العمل. Last time we left with Sayyidina Ibrahim, we left Hajar and her baby alone in a barren land with very little provision, just a bottle of water and some kajur, some dates, and that is all. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he left, and Hajar, she asked him, are you leaving us? Allah amaraka bihada, did Allah command you to do so? He said yes. He said okay, إذا لم يضيعنا, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never let us down. Hajar went on suckling her baby, drinking the water, eating the kajur. For how long? Allahu A'lam. But definitely this little provision used up. It's finished. And she starts feeling thirsty. And her baby starts crying. And in fact, what I'm saying is authentic hadith narrated by Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasul himself, he narrated this story. It's a very authentic hadith. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said she kept looking at her baby, yatalawwa, writhing in agony and pain. Crying. Try to put yourself on her position. A mother looking at her baby in this situation. She looks around, nobody there, nothing. Then the mountain of Safa was very close to her. So she went to the Safa, she stand on top of it, looking around, looking for any human being, any creature, nothing. She descended to the valley, looking around, nothing. She tucked up her robe or her abaya, then she started climbing the Al-Marwa. When she reached the top, she looked around, nobody there. She went back, she descended to the valley, nothing for 7 rounds doing that. And at the end, in the last round, she was on the Al-Marwa, and Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned that she heard some voice. She told herself, keep quiet, listen attentively. Then she heard a voice saying to her, or saying in general, or whoever you may be, you have made me hear you and hear your voice. Have you got something to help me? She couldn't understand anything. She just looked at her baby from far away, and she saw an angel who digging the ground with his heel or his wing, two different narrations. Then the water started gushing up. So she ran towards her baby, and she started filling her water skin or her bottle with water, drinking, and she started make like a basin and to say zam zam zam, be gathered, be gathered, be gathered. She's trying to gather the water. She's afraid. She don't know how long she will be here in this place. She needs water. There's no juju tank there. What she can do? She's trying to make a basin with the sand. Then Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he commented on that. He said, may Allah bestow mercy on Ismail's mother, had she let Zamzam flow without trying to control it, or had she not scooped from the water to fill her water skin, Zamzam would have been a stream flowing on the surface of the earth. Then she, as we said, she drank water, she suckled her child. Then the angel said to her, listen, don't be afraid of being neglected, for this is the house of Allah, which will be built by this boy and his father, and Allah never neglects his people. This is the story. What are the lessons that we can extract it from this story? It is your turn.
Perseverance. She didn't try one time, she went several times.
Okay.
Always have trust in Allah. His qadr will also always come right, and He will never neglect you as if you believe strongly in Him.
Yes.
There's light at the end of every tunnel.
Huh?
There's always light at the end of every tunnel.
Yes. There's always light at the end, but for whom? For those who submit and surrender at the time of the trial. And this is the first lesson. The first lesson is al-rida, satisfaction, and submission at the time of calamity. Because initially she said what? Allahu lan yudayya'na. Allah will never disappoint us. And the believer has a yaqeen, has a certainty that whatever afflicts him or her, whatever afflicts him or her, it never missed him or her. And whatever missed you will never befall you. And this is what the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said. If you are afflicted with any calamity, you cannot avoid it. You cannot protect yourself from it, because it is ordained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have nothing to do but what? Surrender. And rida. Very important. Rida. Satisfaction. You receive the calamity with peace. That's why Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, عَجَبًا لِأَمْرِ الْمُؤْمِنِ. How wonderful is the case of a believer. He is good for him in everything. And this applies only to a believer. If prosperity attends him, he expresses gratitude to Allah, and that is good for him. And if adversity befalls him, he endures it patiently, and this is also better for him, or good for him. And being patient at the time of calamity it is not born at the moment, or it is not a result of the moment. You have to prepare yourself for this long ago. So don't think that Hajar obtained patience and surrender at that time. Because surrender and patience is a storehouse of Iman that accumulated day after day. It is exactly like our financial balance in our bank. You keep saving some money in your bank. When it is time for need, you start withdraw. This is exactly what we do with patience and submission. You cannot submit overnight. You need to practice. You need to create this case within yourself, within your heart, inside your heart, day after day. And this is the first lesson. The first lesson is what? It is submission. It is satisfaction at the time of calamity. Second lesson is at-tawakkul, reliance and trust in Allah even in the most difficult of situations. You see that the profound obedience and sacrifice of Hajar and her family showed that they had a sense of trust of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They know for sure that لَنْ يُضَيِّعَنَا. He will never ever disappoint us. He will never ever forsake us. He is always with us. They have yaqeen in that. So it wasn't a word, it was just a statement uttered by Hajra when she said that لَنْ يُضَيِّعَنَا. She meant it. She believes in it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to disappoint us. He's going to support us. So she had this kind of trust. And this is exactly what Sayyidina Ibrahim had when he left his own. Because no human being leaves his family in a desert, a barren land, like that, unless he relies on something which is unknown to others. And Ibrahim alayhi salam relies on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he puts his trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the second lesson. The third lesson is yes, Hajar had a state of contentment and peace and submission. But she didn't sit next to her child waiting for the miracle to take place. She didn't sit next to him crying and waiting for unknown hands to be given to her. No, she tried her best. She started what? Running in a desert. So Hajar, she taught us, as she taught us the lesson of how you have yaqeen, certainty in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, she teaches us also how to take the means, even when the means are very weak, or even when the means, for the first look, you might think that there's no any means, but you have to do anything. So don't think that if Hajar would have stayed next to her baby, the water will come from under his knee. No. Water comes because of her effort. Because of her effort. So we need to what? To make effort. You cannot achieve anything without taking the means and the causes for that. Physically and spiritually. In dunya, I'm not going to explain too much about this because we all believe in that to the extent that we became materialistic. But also, you cannot achieve Jannah without taking the means to Jannah. You cannot achieve the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without taking the ways to this goal. And try to imagine a lady, woman who is alone in the desert with her baby and running upside down. Nobody. What she hopes for. And she didn't do the sa'i once or twice or thrice, 7 times. 7 times. What she will find after the first round? What she will find? She already looked. Nobody in the desert. Open land. But she didn't do it once or twice or thrice, but 7 times. And maybe she would have increased it if she didn't see the what? The water. Because seeing the water makes her stop. We don't know for how many rounds she was going to do. And this reminds us with what? With another lady who was pregnant. And you know that when a woman is pregnant, how weak she is. But the instruction was given to her to do what? وَهُزِّي إِلَيْكِ بِجِذْعِ النَّخْلَةِ تُسَاقِطْ عَلَيْكِ رُطَبًا جَنِيًّا. Oh Maryam, you want to eat? You want to drink? Yes. Shake the palm tree. Any one of you can shake the palm tree? Of these people? The men? I think Yusuf Patel can do it. Yes. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to teach her. Don't wait for mu'jiza. Don't wait for miracles. You have to do some effort. Don't wait for someone to help you. You should help yourself first. Don't wait for others to help you. This is another lesson. صلوا على رسول الله. Where the water gushed out, where the head comes, where? From where? Huh? Now I know it's from which direction, which place, how she find the water? Did she find the water behind Safa? Did she find water behind Marwa? So it means that sometimes help comes from where you cannot expect. You are putting your effort in certain direction, and this is what Allah wants you to do it. Just to do some effort, do something. And maybe the help comes from the opposite direction. It doesn't matter. So she tries hard to fetch water in the valley, in the Safa, in Marwa, but the water comes from underneath her stomach to teach us this lesson. You don't know how the help of Allah comes and from which direction He comes. Sometimes you knock at many doors of sustenance. All the doors are locked and closed. Then from certain door where you never expect, you find the rizq of Allah comes to you. And Allah drives your sustenance to you. This is in the individual level. And also in the ummah's level. Sometimes you expect the victory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the help of Allah comes from certain direction or certain people. In the history, who defeated the Crusade? Who defeated them? Who defeated the you know the Tatars? You know them? Who defeated them? Who stopped them? You need to read the history. The Tatars, they destroyed Asia, Iraq, many countries. And you know who stopped them? Egyptians. Although they didn't enter Egypt. They didn't enter Egypt. And for the Crusades, they destroyed most of the Arab land. Who stopped them and defeated them? Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi. Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi was an Arab? Huh? From the north of Iraq, Akrat, or Kars. They are not Arabs. So you put your trust, or you expect the victory will come from certain direction, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring it from another direction. But He wants you to do what?
Perfect.
Put your effort. Another lesson. The blessings of obedience surpasses the obedient person and his time and his place. Again, the blessings of the obedience exceed the obedient person himself and his time and his place. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant Hajar this blessing of water? Because she submitted totally to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She obeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the barakah, the blessing of this obedience was what? Was the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is that help restricted to Hajar? Restricted to her time? Restricted to her place? Do you understand my question? So it means that when you obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your obedience will return to you, will return to your family members, will return. وَكَانَ أَبُوهُمَا صالحا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a messenger to help a boy, because not because the boy was a righteous boy, but because his parents were righteous. So the barakah or the blessings of obedience is not restricted to the one who obeys. It exceeds that. That's why you look at Saudi Arabia now. All what Saudi Arabia enjoys is because of what? Because of the it is barakah, the blessings of the obedience of this family. So if you really fear for your children, if you want to them live nice life, so you should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because your fear will benefit your children. And you see, the barakah of Ibrahim, the blessing of Ibrahim and his family is not just physical barakah, even his spiritual barakah. From this family, who descended from this family? I know, after Ishaq, after Yaqub, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's why Rasulullah, I mentioned this in the last time, I said Rasulullah used to say what? He used to call Sayyidina Ibrahim my father. He's my grandfather. Okay? Now there's water. And al-ma'u huwa al-haya. Water is life. When there's water, so everything can be available. So now the people, there's a tribe called Jurhum from Yemen. You know that the Arab used to move from place to another place searching for water. So they saw one day, this tribe saw the birds, they hovered over the valley of Mecca. So they expect what? The water there. They went, they found Hajar with her baby. So they asked her to give them water. She gave them water. Then they asked her to allow them to live next to her. She said, I have to ask my husband. I have to ask my husband. Then, after a while, Ibrahim came to visit them. Ibrahim alayhi salam came to visit them. And he saw what happened. This was the first time to see water. People, they're asking for neighborhood. So, Ibrahim, he gave her permission to allow these people to live next to them with the condition that they shouldn't control or have authority over the water. Then later, Jurhum, this tribe, they came back to Hajar and asked her for the neighborhood. She gave them a place and she allowed them to live next to them. Then Ismail alayhi salam, her son, started growing up among this Qabila, this tribe. He learned Arabic from them. He grew up among them, and later he married from this tribe. What do we learn from that? All what I said is authentic hadith narrated by Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Listen.
The benefit of obedience far exceeds what you can imagine.
Yes.
And who would think that a tribe would come there, and the Jurhum tribe was one of the families from which so many descendants in the Nubuwwah came from there.
Yes. tribe to this place. And why? Then this is the first lesson. The first lesson is, remember the dua of Ibrahim when he left his family there. What did he say? رَبَّنَا وَاجْعَلْ أَفْئِدَةً مِّنَ النَّاسِ تَهْوِي إِلَيْهِمْ. Oh my Lord, drive the hearts of the people to them. Not drive the people, drive the hearts of the, let the people come and love and long to live with them, to love, to like to live with Hajar and Habil. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded to his dua after how long? Ismail was a baby. Now Ismail is about 10 years old. After 10 years, Allah responded to his dua. Second lesson, the absent father and the great mother. Try to imagine, in this lesson I am going to ask the ladies, try to imagine your husband left you in a desert, nobody. You became the father and mother. You became the boss of everything. Then your husband is coming to visit you. Maybe after 4 years, 5 years, he comes to visit you. When something happened there, this pious lady, she's saying what? I cannot give you permission. I have to ask my husband. She didn't say I am a boss and my husband is not here. And even when he comes back, she didn't tell him it is not your business. You already threw us here in this place and you don't care for us. So shut up and don't say a word. She didn't say that because she is Hajar. And she knows her limitation. She knows what she should do and what we should wait for her husband to come, even if he comes after 2-3 years. Okay? As soon as that trial of this patient family ended successfully, and they passed this exam, they passed this trial, earning the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the sign of Allah's pleasure is what? Is the water. Shortly, maybe 3 years, 4 years, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested Ibrahim and his family with a great test. We leave the Quran to tell us about this test. If you have the Mus'haf, open your Mus'haf and get me Surah Al-Saffat, the ayah number 99. And Ibrahim, وَقَالَ إِنِّي ذَاهِبٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّي سَيَهْدِينِ. Listen carefully, because this ayat summarizes the story. And Ibrahim said, I will go to my Lord. He is sure to guide me. Lord, grant me a righteous son. We gave him the happy news that he will have Ghulam Halim, forbearing son. When the boy was old enough to walk with his father, Ibrahim said, "Oh my son, I have seen in my dream that I must sacrifice you. Tell me then, what do you think?" Ismail said, my father, do as you are bidden, and Allah, inshallah, you will find me patient in adversity. And when they had both submitted, and he put him down upon his forehead, we called to him, O Ibrahim, you have fulfilled the vision. Indeed, we thus reward the doers of good. Indeed, this was the clear trial. And we ransomed him with a great sacrifice, and we left for him favorable mention among the later generation. Peace upon Ibrahim. This is what the Quran said about this story. The books of Sirah, they add more details to this story. They said that Ibrahim, he saw in his dream that he's sacrificing his son, slaughtering his son. So he came to his son and he said to him, oh my son, take the rope, take the knife, and let's go to get some firewood from the bush or the forest. So on their way to the forest, Shaitan came to Ibrahim. Where are you going, Ibrahim? He came to him in a form of man. Where are you going? I am going to collect some firewood. He said, no, you are going to kill your son, because you claim that you saw in your dream that your Lord commands you to do so. He said, yes. He said, no, it is not your Lord, it is Shaitan. So Ibrahim realized that this was the what? The Shaitan. So he stoned him. Then Shaitan came to Ismail. He said, oh my son, where are you going? He said, oh, I'm going to collect some firewood. He said, but your father is going to slaughter you. He said, why? He loves me. He said, because he claims that his Lord commands him to do so. He said, since his Lord commands him to do so, so sam'an wa ta'an. So most welcome. He went to Hajar. Where's your man? Where's your husband? He went to collect some firewood. No, he's going to kill your son. He said, no, he loves him too much. He said, no, he claimed that his Lord commanded him to do so. She said, okay, since it is Allah's commandment, so we should obey, and we should listen, and we should obey. And she stoned him. This is narrated in some of the books of the Sirah. What are the lessons here? We learn it from the ayat and from this narration. Listen to you.
Total obedience on all.
Now.
Not being dissuaded by stories other than what Allah has commanded in the dream. Dreams of the prophets.
It is not a bad stories, huh? You should say something. We need to learn something. First, let me ask you, and I think I indicated to that in last time. What is the reason that Allah commands Ibrahim to slaughter his son? Or what is the reason for commanding Ibrahim to take his family in a barren place? Why? Why Allah is doing that?
Setting up the Hajj.
Test.
Testing his
And you know why Allah is testing Ibrahim? Imam Ibn al-Qayyim, he mentioned the reason for that. He said, Ibrahim dedicated himself to Allah and the da'wah throughout his life. And he made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant him a son. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded to him. And he granted him a son when he was 80 something, 86, when he was 86 years old. Ibn al-Qayyim is a great alim. He said, it might be that Ibrahim was busy with his son. His son distracted him from the little bit from his mission. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put him in this great test. Because, as Ibn al-Qayyim said, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not accept association. Does not accept association. He said, لأن الله يغار. In fact, the word يغار, if I translate it literally to English, he feels jealous. You know when you feel jealous? When the man has two wives, for example, and so وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. So Allah does not accept partnership. It is either Allah in your heart or not. Don't put in your heart anything besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even my parent, even your parent, even my wife, even your wife, even my children, even your children. All this depends on the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It means that if they are not obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you should pull yourself away from them. So this is the purpose why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put Ibrahim and his family in this great test. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, another reason. Allah said in another ayah in Surah An-Nisa, the ayah 125, وَاتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ خَلِيلًا. Allah takes Ibrahim as a Khalil. You know Khalil, it means what? Khalil, it means what? Close friend. In fact, this word we cannot find a word in English for Khalil. Khalil, what is Khalil?
Closest of friends.
Kamal al-Mahabba. The top of love. The most sincere love. This is Khulla. This is Khalil. The closest word in English, bosom friend. Very close to you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes Ibrahim as a Khalil. So since you will be Allah's Khalil, you should give preference to Allah over everything. Even your wealth, your children, your parents, your spouse, everything. It is Allah. قُلِ اللَّهِ ثُمَّ ذَرْهُمْ فِي خَوْضِهِمْ يَلْعَبُونَ. We need to understand our deen. So this is the hikmah, this is the wisdom of why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested Ibrahim. Second lesson. This trial, Ibrahim and his family were exposed to multiply trial. Repeat, continuous trial. Even while he was young, he stand against his family. He was a Muslim, his father and his parents were kafir. This is a test. They threw him in the fire, another test. He migrated from place to another place, from a place to another. He didn't settle in a place, except in Palestine. This is his final abode. But he kept moving from a place to another place. Then he left his family in a barren land. Then, eventually, he was instructed to slaughter his son. It is continuous. Don't think that because you are pious, you will be tested once and once off. No, there's no once off. Since you are in this dunya, expect trials. متى يجد العبد طعم الراحة? Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal was asked this question. When the believer tastes the flavor of relaxation, when he will rest. Tell us when a Muslim will rest. He said, with the first step in Jannah. Here you can relax. Before that, there is no rest, there is no relaxation. Trials after trials. They asked Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, أَيُّ النَّاسِ بَلَاءً? Which people suffered the greatest affliction? He said, Al-Anbiya, the prophets. Then those who come next to them. Listen carefully. A man is afflicted in keeping with his religion. Is afflicted regarding his deen. If he is firm in his religion, his trial is severe. But if there is weakness in his deen, so the trial will be what? Lighter. And the trial continues like that till he walks on the earth having no sin. Having no sin. So the trial is eraser. Erase your sin. If it is not haram to wish for trials, we would make dua to Allah to send more trials. ولكن عافية الله أوسع. But we hope for the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is Ibrahim and his family, they were exposed to continuous trials. And it was a very severe trial. And it manifested in certain point. In fact, this mic is a form of trial. You see, Ibrahim was granted this son when he was how many? How old? 86. He was very old. So, and try to imagine, to get a son in this age. Okay, this is one thing. Second, Ibrahim was cut off his family. He was a foreigner. He was a foreigner and he has no family. No family members around him. He was alone. Only his wife and his son, his only son. Because he left his land long ago and his family, they left them behind. Thirdly, the ayah said, فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ مَعَهُ السَّعْيُ. When Ismail reached the age, he can accompany his father, which means he was, as the ulama said, he was 13, 14 years old. At that time, the instruction came to Ibrahim, slaughter your son. Why not before that? Why in this age? Ask any parent, they will tell you this is the best age. They can play, I can accompany my son with me everywhere. I can enjoy his company. Now I am getting old, so it means Ibrahim at that time he completed 100 years. And he relies on his son now. Now he depends on his son. Slaughter him. Oh. And this son is not like our son. He is Ghulam Halim, Ya Hamza. Ghulam Halim. He is obedient son. patient son, pious son. He is the cornice of the eyes of his father because he is pious son. So definitely that makes the task of Ibrahim very difficult. And he is the only son, he is the only child. No children for Ibrahim at that time. Another thing, he's not going to send his son to a battlefield to be killed there. Or he's not given a task by which it ends his life. Or he's not going to be slaughtered by someone else. No, by your own hands. By your own hand, you slaughter him. This is how difficult that trial was. The third lesson. We said the first lesson is what? In this, we said it is continuous trial. It is severe trial. Thirdly, I want you to memorize this. It is perfect surrender with severity of affliction. In front of these severe trials, Ibrahim surrendered completely to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No any hesitation to put the commands of Allah in action. No any hesitation. And this, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this is the greatest lesson in the story of Ibrahim. If you forget anything, please don't forget this lesson. Ibrahim and his family, they give us an example to submissive family. The father submitted to Allah, the mother submitted to Allah, the son submitted to Allah. The whole family. The father submits to Allah when he left his family in a barren land. When he tried to slaughter his son as the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he responded to Allah's command immediately. Although the command was not clear. How Ibrahim received the command of slaughtering his son? By dream. It wasn't a statement from Allah, revelation, wahy. Sayyidina Jibreel came to him and said, Allah commands you to slaughter. It is a dream. It is just indication, just a sign. It is not clear command. But Ibrahim, he knows for sure that the dreams of Anbiya is a wahy, is a revelation. That is why he didn't hesitate. He didn't question Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He didn't ask him how, why, how, nothing. And to avoid any distraction or any obstacles, he took him away from his mother. He told him, let's go and collect some firewood. Amazing thing. Look at this ayah. فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ مَعَهُ السَّعْيَ قَالَ يَا بُنَيَّ. When the boy was old enough to walk with his father, Ibrahim said to him, I have seen in a dream. In fact, the Arabic word, قال يا بني إني أرى في المنام. أرى. What is أرى? Not I saw, I see. It's present tense. He said, "Oh my son, I see in my dream." He recalled the dream now to encourage him to put it in action. He doesn't want to say, "I saw it." It is not past. It is now. I see it now. إني أرى في المنام. I see myself slaughtering you in my dream. This is how Ibrahim submit to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How the mother submits to Allah. He left her in the desert, stayed away. Khalas. She didn't say a word. She didn't believe Ibrahim for anything. Even when Shaitan tried to make waswasa to her, she said, since Allah commands him to do so, khalas. The son himself. قال يا بني إني أرى في المنام أني أذبحك فانظر ماذا ترى. I see in my dream that I am slaughtering you. What do you think? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? قال يا أبتي, oh my beloved father, not do what you want, do what you are being commanded. Not do what you want, because you know that it is not what he wants. So I know that it is not your willing, or it is a command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you have to respond to it. So do what you have been commanded. ستجدني إن شاء الله من الصابرين. You will find me inshallah. I am not a brave. I am not a hero. No. With the will of Allah, with the help of Allah, I will be patient. And in the hadith that is narrated in the books of the history, he said to his father, my father, this submission was verbal submission. When it is time for action, time for slaughtering, Ismail, he said to his father, turn my face down. I don't want your eyes to meet my eyes, so you feel pity for me and you won't do the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 12 years or 13 years boy. He said, tie me properly. Sharpen the knife so I won't suffer. Take my shirt and give it to my mother. So it might keep her cold. And who's saying that? Ismail, 13 years old. Who make tarbiyah? Who give tarbiyah to Ismail? Who gave tarbiyah to Ismail? And this is another lesson, and I want to conclude with. Ibrahim, he visited them maybe twice or thrice in this time, till he was commanded to slaughter him. Who taught him this obedience? A lady. And you know this Hajar, I said this before, you know Hajar? Hajar was African slave. You see, the foolish people, they said Islam oppressed woman and wrong woman. Let them come and read the story of Hajar. Let them study the history of Hajj, the biggest ritual in Islam, the biggest ibadah in Islam. Hajj is based on the action of a woman. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the Sahaba, the Muslim, till the day of Qiyamah, every year they go there, they recall the actions of Hajar, they try to imitate Hajar, they remember her every year, they follow her footsteps. A lady, and they say Islam oppressed woman. A woman who produced Ismail, disobedient boy, who submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willingly. There's a lot of lessons we can learn it from the story of Ibrahim and his family. And as I said, the clearest lesson is, if you want to enjoy your life with your family, you should understand that submission is the only fact can bring about happiness in your life. We never heard that Ibrahim, he said to Hajar, I love you, Hajar. Hajar, she said to him, I love you too. They didn't do anything. So it's not about love. It's not about love. You might love your partner too much. In the beginning of the marriage, we were flying to the sky. Flying to